papers, please.
Komm her! Was haben Sie da?
Where are they taking him?
They are not taking him anywhere.
My friends, the king of the kingdom, the king of the world, the one who has all authority on heaven and earth is Jesus.
Hey, mister, you got a license to do this?
Pardon?
You got a license to do this?
Someone asked me, do I have a license to do this? Jesus!
Excuse me, the police is there. Excuse me.
Jesus said, go into all the world and preach the gospel. Jesus said, I have authority in heaven and on earth. So what is my authority? The authority of Almighty God. This is my passport. This is my documentation. And I'm not afraid of you. You need to be afraid of God. Because the Bible says hell is on its way. I can't be saying my religion. I can't be... Pardon me? Well, what can I do?
You're talking about homeless and bisexual and gay.
I did talk about homeless people. I talked about heterosexuals. I talked about homosexuals. I talked about everything. I talked about war. Oh, what's wrong with your cousin?
He's not a boyfriend. He's gay.
I don't agree with it. I don't need to.
I'm bisexual, yeah?
So?
Why are you doing it in the middle of town in front of boys that are gay and girls?
Pardon me?
Why are you doing it in front of town?
Why am I preaching the word of God and exercising my freedom of speech?
I think we all know what would be happening if he was preaching on a certain social media site. But just for fun, let's see how this situation is handled by our favourite boys and girls in blue.
Listen, no, I'm not going to sit down. Oh, maybe you can. But listen, everybody is entitled with freedoms, and everybody is deserving of respect and dignity. I challenge you by the law. I challenge you by the word. We have dignity and respect. Every single person has a right to believe and preach what they want to preach.
So if you haven't already seen my video on the Hurty Word helpline, Leaves Real Crimes Uninvestigated, it describes in colourful detail this preacher's exact point, and I'll leave a link to that video in the description.
I'm not comfortable with some of the things you've said. Okay?
What did I say?
You've probably seen me, I've been stood there for a while. Okay? I understand, okay? I understand.
Yes, you are allowed to film, thank you.
That you are expressing your views, okay? I understand that a lot of what you're quoting is straight from the Bible.
Straight from the Bible.
Okay? And I appreciate that, okay? That is your honest held belief, okay? But I cannot allow you, okay, to project this in the street at this level when you can see how irate people have become.
What's the law that I can't preach my faith?
Public order, okay?
Public order that I can't
if you're causing
preach
someone, if you're causing
the word of God.
If you're causing someone harassment, alarm and distress.
Who's harassing anybody?
Okay, so I've had 2 people come up to me and complain already.
What did they say?
Okay, they've said that the scripture that you've quoted or the words that you've said in relation to homosexuality and homelessness has offended them.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Is this a banned book in
No,
English?
it's not a banned book at all.
So am I allowed to read from the Bible?
Are you allowed to read the Bible? Yes, you can read from the Bible.
So I'm going to read.
People, okay?
So if I read the Bible and that offends somebody, then so their rights trump mine.
If you're offending them, yes.
Now, as you already know, I believe that everyone's rights are important, providing that they do not cause harm, loss or damage. Believing in a religion and preaching is up there with the oldest fundamental rights of every human being. In fact, the oldest of the 4 main religions is believed to predate Sumerian, Egyptian and Babylonian cultures. Your religion is a belief or an opinion, and as such those who believe should be allowed to attest to that fact. As we see here, the closer we get to a police state means that even the word of the Bible is now considered as offensive.
So as far as I know, I'm quoting the Bible, preaching my faith, and I'm being harassed by the police now for what did I didn't do anything illegal.
Whilst you're speaking to the camera about being harassed by the police, you're not being harassed by the police.
So what's going on?
We've just had numerous calls through to our control room, which hence why we're here.
So you need to verify the facts. So you've been sitting here, everything's on live camera right now. It's publicly all over the world.
Well, I've
right now.
just turned up here. I haven't been sitting here.
So you weren't in the conversation. So I quoted from the scripture, which is not illegal. I preach my views, which is not illegal. I have freedom of speech, I'm assuming. So
I'm creating public disorder for preaching the Bible, my faith, using freedom of speech.
Right, have that back.
Doesn't make any sense.
Unfortunately, alarm, harassment and distress seems to be one of those acts which can be pulled out of the hat with little to no real evidence. Section 5 of the Public Order Act 1986 states that a person is guilty of an offence if he, there's that sexism again, A, uses threatening or abusive words or behaviour or disorderly behaviour, or B, displays any writing, sign or other visible representation which is threatening or abusive within the hearing or sight of a person likely to be caused harassment, alarm or distress. And Section 154 of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act 1994 states that intentional harassment, alarm or distress. 1. A person is guilty of an offence if, with intent to cause a person harassment, alarm or distress, he A. uses threatening, abusive or insulting words and behaviour or disorderly behaviour, or B. displays any writing, sign or other visible representation which is threatening, abusive or insulting, thereby causing that or another person harassment, alarm or distress. Quite simply, if a member of the public decided to lie and call the police with a story, the police will attend, and because it's a finable offence, they will likely arrest you for the revenue. It's also one of those offences whereby a police officer need only believe that harassment, alarm or distress is likely to be caused, again, not necessarily needing any real evidence.
Because I did nothing illegal. I preached the word of God. I preached the gospel. I preached my views. I quoted from scripture. And everything is live on camera for the world to see. And my friends, I'm here to tell you today that I am a born-again Christian, and I'm proud. Because Jesus became the Lord of my life and saved me from a rotten life. I was living in fornication, drunkenness, drug abuse, doing all the things that we see in society today. Sleeping around. I lived like that. I lived in a depraved mind. I lived in a heart that was deluded. I've been there, I've done that. And you know what? Sometimes what happens in life is that we think that's the right way to live. But I'm here to tell you today that sin brings forth death, but God's gift of life is granted to you. People, it's funny. It's funny that police are coming because of a preacher of righteousness. This is how far our nation has gone. Britain, wake up! Wake up! They would call police on a preacher that's telling people to repent and live right. But then everybody's living wrong. Everybody's living in sin. But nobody calls the police. Britain claims to stand on the word of God. The Queen claims to be the leader of England. Don't we all say, God save the Queen? The Queen swears on the Holy Bible. The Holy Bible. I preach the Holy Bible. And I'm the guy that's in the wrong.
I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that most of the police officers habitually lie and sin on a daily basis. Maybe they simply don't like to be reminded of the sins they commit and don't like to hear people talking about righteousness. Although I do find it somewhat amusing that the police are coming to speak to a man who is preaching about not living in sin or hurting and abusing one another. Now, I do understand that people have their rights with religion, sexuality, gender, politics, etc. But as I said in the video I spoke of earlier, which is linked to in the description, people simply need to make their choices and get on with their lives. Everyone is entitled to speak their minds, their opinions, their beliefs. But everyone also has the right to simply walk on past and get on with their lives. In my own opinion, this preacher was not forcing his views on anyone, and so to have the police called to tell him he is upsetting people by reading from the Bible is preposterous.